Welcome to T Boys TV. We are back again with another Hatter Show, obviously episode 315. And in this one, we'll be talking about another win, thankfully. And then we'll be previewing the game tomorrow, which is, in my opinion, the Wembley preview all needed, in my opinion. And I'll get into why in a bit. But how have you been, Dad, the last few days?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. X-ray specs in the place.
Oh, my days. But yeah, no, good to see everyone in the chat as well with the comments and all that waiting as well. Harry says, evening, lads. Hope you're both well. Yep, we're good, mate. Hope you're well as well. Big up, Paul. And then big up to Jackie as well. But yeah, going into that game the other day. Now, I had a feeling we'd win by a goal. I knew it'd be that type of game, despite how Exeter have been in terms of their really poor away form. Obviously, not winning under the new manager, getting draws and losses. But yeah, we was at home, after the Wickham result. There was confidence there, obviously, on top of the Exeter's form, like I say. And I mean, the lineup, it was quite interesting. Now, originally when we saw it, we thought it was the same formation as it was against Wickham. Obviously, that wasn't to be. It was a 3-4-2-1, which I actually liked. I think we should continue to go with that at home because, we're going to play with the one up front. Obviously, we all want to change there. But with the news on Elijah, it looks like that's not going to be able to go two up front anytime soon, in my opinion, because I don't think with the current strikers we'll do it. Obviously, Wells is out as well still. So, yeah, and then you've got the two cams behind the striker. I like that. I do like that. And especially the players we had there in this game, Palmer and Clark. I mean, we know they're much better there. And especially Palmer, the form he's on, to take out this game, scoring again, 2 out of 2, been a real good threat. And the Wickham game, he was sort of up front, and we was a bit like, okay, because he's not a striker, but it did work being higher up, as we know. And he's very versatile. He can play on the left side of midfield. He can play on the right. Wingers as well, if you want to call it like that. Can play centrally and has shown that he can play more of like a 6 role as well. So, yeah, it was good to see that. And obviously, Clark, like I've said loads of times, I don't like him deeper. I just don't think it benefits his game. So that was good to see. Obviously, we see Walsh and Saville together again, which I actually think they were all right. Obviously, the wing back good again. Wing back side I went with. And then the back three was what it was against Wickham. So there was only one change, and that was obviously Cole up front, as we expected for Wells, with obviously Wells being out. But yeah, it wasn't too bad, and it was good to see Sandal on the bench as well. Obviously, had a bit of a cameo. It's good to see him finally, in the squad and things like that. So overall, when I saw that lineup, I didn't mind it. One change and a change we would have expected that.
Yeah, and it's good to see a little tweak of formation. I mean, 3 at the backs actually work. We've been forced into it, obviously, but it's worked for us much better than it did under previous managers. And yeah, got Clark and Cole. This is because we've got so many options. Do you know what I mean? And we can tweak it. And Savile and Walsh, a lot of people have criticised that, but the last couple of games, it has worked. And obviously, Cole coming in as he's going to against the injured player. Do you know what I mean? Wells. So
yeah, I mean, going into the first half, another set piece goal. Well, in fact, all of them were, which was, I don't care how we score. Obviously, I want us to score more in open play, and we should have. We should have in this game, let's be honest, especially in that second half. Even though I don't actually think the second half performance was bad, after they scored anyway, I felt we should have scored more. And obviously we get into that. But, another set-piece goal. Obviously, Palmer, great delivery from Walsh again. Like I said in the match reaction, he's racking up the assists now, which is great to see Liam Walsh. And then Palmer, 3 out of 3. I mean, we knew his quality anyway. We were saying it after the Bradford game in particular, about his quality in terms of, what he's bringing to the team. And he wasn't even scoring then. Now he's getting 3 out of 3. I mean, he's looking really, really good. And not say that position he played, I think that really, really helped him in this game because he was so good. And again, like the last 2 games, we've got to a stage now where, you take him off and we're not too annoyed. Whereas previously we were because we felt he can still bring that threat in the period we was in the games needing a goal or, trying to get another goal just to, sort of cement it, like the Reading game, for example. But yeah, I mean, brilliant once again, and it's great to see that the corners are coming off because you guys will know I was very critical of the corners, because I just feel the way we were positioning the players and things like that wasn't working, and the deliveries weren't great either. But the last load of goals, you can't complain. Brilliant, brilliant once again from another set piece, wasn't it, Dad?
Yeah, Walsh again with the assist, and I said that I think last all of our goals in the previous two games come from set pieces. We went for a long period of not doing anything really. Apart from there was moments. Obviously, Bramwell's free kicks, we scored a couple, but generally it was just
The corners were very poor.
keeper was always getting them and things like
Yeah.
that. So you can see that out there. I think Kevin Pilkington's the set piece coach. Looks to be proper working now, so props to that. And every time we take one, especially with Savile as well, like people have been slagging him off a little bit, which I don't agree with. I think he's done right this season. Two free kicks from him, 2 goals. But yeah, quality Palmer there. The movement's really good. And then just crazy, isn't it? How good he's. It is. He's like, he reminds me a bit of how Naismith was when we initially signed him. That utility player can play in different positions, comes up with the goals. Do you know what I mean? And he's doing that. And the fact that he's dropped the level, never played this level, clearly too good for this level. Wants to stay at the club, no matter what. As well, I'd say, is excellent recruitment. Let's be honest. I'd heard of him. I'd seen him a few times before. I think he was more playing on the right and stuff like that. Coventry, and yeah, I was pretty impressed with the signing, and it was down to him to prove it, and he has from day one, really, hasn't he? Do you know what I mean? He's had long range shots. He's he's a magnet to the ball. We haven't had that for a while, and yeah, and just there as well, doing the mucky business on the corners, getting headers in. Working hard and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, it was a good goal.
Yeah, what I was going to say here, Matt said, now he's played forward, he's playing well. I mean, I think he was initially. I think the only thing was the sort of 2 games where he played really well in that 6 role was obviously Blackpool and Bradford. Bradford in particular, everyone was, singing the praises in that game. And then I think the Cardiff game after that, and there was another away game, might have been Wigan, but I can't remember exactly. We were solely relying on him, and that was the problem. That was the problem because he was doing so well in the home games. We relied on him to do that in game against at that period top of league Cardiff. And it was too much expectation on him, in my opinion. But yeah, I do agree. Since that period, then he's been able to go up front. He was up front against Wigan, but higher up, he's definitely been more beneficial. I mean, and that is where he should be playing. I don't care where he plays in terms of if he's playing it as a left midfielder, a right midfielder, because he can play there, or winger, whatever you want to call it. Along with the central, I don't mind. I really don't mind where he's playing because as long as he's higher up, or if he is in a 6 role, he's with someone next to him because, it doesn't work unless you're playing a lower opposition at home, like Blackpool, for example, then it will work. But yeah, no, overall, you want him higher up. It's the same with Clark. I don't like Clark deeper. I really, really don't like it. Like Clark, he'll obviously work hard. He'll try and win the headers. Considering he's not tall at all, and he does win them quite a lot over the years, but it's not his game. If you're going to have anyone there who's more the attacking midfielder, for me, it's Walsh, which we have been doing. Walsh and then obviously Savile next to him because he is the only CDM at the club other than Sandal, but we haven't seen enough of Sandal to really judge him, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's how I see it. But yeah, going into obviously the game, so we're 1-0 up, like we say. They do get an equaliser, and I've got to be honest, Exeter, they did play pretty well in this game. Especially in the first half. I thought second half we were a better team. I thought obviously we had a better team in both games, but They gave us more of a game than a lot of people have anticipated.
Yeah.
Their crosses were quite good into the box, from open play, I felt. And then obviously they do get the goal. I mean, for me, Naismith's got done a bit too easy. I will be honest. Like for me, he's just got to try and put a tackle in, and then we've tried to clear it. Longwick. I mean, there was people criticising Saville. I'm not criticising him there because at the end of the day, the touch Longwick's done to get it away has put it into a danger zone, in my opinion. And it's a great finish. Keeley couldn't have done anything. And, for me, we've got to be doing better before that. I don't really want to be critical along with there because at the end of the day, we should be clearing it. Naismith, he should be putting more of a foot in for me. It was too easy. And then they make it 1-1 and you're thinking, oh, for God's sake, like you're still confident, but it's a very avoidable goal for me. I mean, how did you feel, Dad, when it went in?
Yeah, quite avoidable. Good bit of play from them. And we know Naismith, he's not, yeah. At the same time, he probably didn't want to just put a foot in and give away a penalty. The geezer was tricky, good crossing. Longwick maybe should have just smashed it away, but ultimately it was a good finish and they're fighting, so it's not that surprising. It's what we do after that which counts.
Yeah, and we done well. There was pressing. Obviously, we got the penalty, which was a penalty. It's a handball. And I look back at it, and the guy sort of jumped into that position. I mean, I had to look back at it not too long before we went on here again. And yeah, it was a penalty. It was a penalty for me all day long. And, I did say in the preview, I had a feeling we'd get a penalty. I mean, I did want to see Cole on it just for confidence, but I totally understand why we give it to Clark. 9 times out of 10, he's very reliable. And it was a very good penalty as well. He's obviously sent the keeper the wrong way. And, no messing about at that period. That's what we needed to not do because we've just had a chance to take the lead again. And it was a great penalty from Clark and fair play to him because the last 2 games, even though he's allowed to do it, he's not been great in my opinion. But this game, I mean, is unreal. Obviously, David and Mike said after the game, man of the match. Obviously, he got it at the stadium as well. And he was quality. And that's the thing. Like when Clark steps up, you really know about it. Like he's just different level. He could have had more. He's very unlucky not to have more in this game as well. Obviously, had that chance in the second half where it's hit the woodwork. I think he had a chance that went wide. That was very unlucky. A volley, if I remember rightly. I know Naismith had one as well. So he was really, really good. And, we still think, and I still stand by it, I do think we need to take him off like towards the end of games because how many games he does play and how hard he works. But he's definitely, a regular starter in this team. There's no question about that, is there, Dad?
No, again, Saville initial free kick. Hard work from Lawrence to get a deflection. Cole using his intelligence to run. And the guy dived. And the thing is, if it hit his hand, so as a penalty, but I think if he didn't hit his hand, he would have booked him for diving. He'd have had to book him for diving, innit? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it was way too kind of easy. It was just like side by side running, and he just went to the floor. And that's what the physicality that Cole brings. And all right, he didn't take the penalty, but he definitely 100% earned that. And for me, he's improving game by game. He just needs to start. I think. And
this was definitely his best game for us.
Yeah, and the keeper was trying his best to put Clark off, and at the end of the day, sent him the wrong way. So that was good to see. And then obviously we go on another set piece.
Brilliant delivery again.
Great delivery, and then the hunger. There was a few players in there, but Hakeem, who like you say deserves that. For his performances anyway, like at the back, or later on, maybe he could have got the next goal possibly, but ultimately he's been since he's come in, even when he come in for that brief cameo, cleared it off the line, and it's been magnificent. So it's good to see him. Reminds me a little bit of in like Osho a little bit, but I just think he's a more complete player. He's a better player, and.
And let's not forget, his main position is actually a CDM. It's not a centre back.
He's also had a strike as well. Like we know he could probably score with headers in the box and stuff like that. But I think against Wickham, he had a strike as well from outside the box far away. So and the lad looks fit. He looks hungry. So yeah, you know,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I
and
mean, he's
it was good to go in at half time with that lead.
yeah. And do you know what I really think helped? Like you say, that lead. I think being 3-1 up was a good thing. Like I sort of felt we had to come out of that second half similar to the Wickham game. Like obviously it's a different score, but you're still 2 goals up in terms of just keeping up that pressure. Obviously, like you say, they got the goal. I mean, like I say, I felt we responded after that. To be fair, we should have scored more. I mean, Cole, had a chance. I feel Naismith should have scored. I will be honest. Looking back at it, I feel we should have scored.
Clark hit the crossbar with a
Yeah,
good.
Clark was unlucky, like I said
Yeah, yeah,
earlier.
quite a few shots as well.
Yeah, like despite it being 3-2, I was nervy just because you've seen over recent years, we'll have a good period and then we'll capitulate. I mean, you only have to go to the last home game. I was just worrying about like maybe an individual error or that, but predominantly we were in control in that second half, to be honest, in my opinion. And we did deserve to win. Like it was, like I say, Exeter, they done better than a lot of us anticipated, but overall we did deserve to win that game for me. And it's a massive, massive win on that night as well because of the other teams that won. I mean, even like Stevenage losing, lost to Plymouth or another team around us, thankfully, Lincoln got a goal right at the end because it would have been 5 points instead of 4 points. So a lot of the results did help, didn't help us, but we helped ourselves as well, which is great. And that's what we've got to do. At this moment in time, the position we're in, we've just got to focus on ourselves. We can't be looking elsewhere because we're already behind as it is. In terms of the players, and obviously we will as fans, but in terms of the players and that, they just have to, and the managers, the staff, they just have to focus on ourselves. Because like I say, we're behind as it is. We need to look at our results and see what we're doing. And the last 2 games, they've been good performances. Obviously, yes. You could argue the last 3 goals we've conceded. We could defend better, but in terms of the performance levels, they've been much better. You cannot complain at that. And yeah, we just got to keep it going. We just got to keep it going for as long as we can and see where it takes us, really. So yeah, that's how I see it, really. But yeah, overall, like we deserved that, really, and it was good to see Sandal come on as well. Like actually, see what he's like. Obviously, it was a very short cameo. I don't even think it was a minute, to be honest. But still, good to see him on the bench. Hopefully, he can remain on the bench now and obviously build up his minutes and things like that. And we can see what it's like because he is the other CDM at the club now that Nakamba's gone alongside Savile. So let's see. Let's see if he can. Have a good cameo and then see from there, really. But yeah, like I say, overall, I felt we did deserve to win that, to be honest. But yeah, going into the player ratings, do get involved in the chat as well. Keeley couldn't have done anything about the goals for me. You could also argue as well on the second goal, and I did say it at the time on the watch along. Naismith, Keane can do better, but like I say, he's been, like you said, that predominantly he's been really, really good. But I feel Naismith should have been goal side as well off the player. I will be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I also felt that as well. But Keeley, like I say, the goals he couldn't have done anything. And fair play to him, he's been called up for Ireland, which he thoroughly deserves. He probably won't start because I know they start Kelleher, who's obviously a very good keeper. But it's good to see him in and amongst it. And yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. That'll give him a boost. And yeah, I mean, maybe he might get a cameo in the game. I mean, I haven't looked at who they're playing. I don't know what type of games they are, if they're friendlies or whatever, because I know England's are. So, yeah, but good to see him called up. And yeah, in terms of this game, like I say, wasn't that fault for anything. I'd just give him a 6.5.
Yeah, 6.5. Like you say, not a fault. Done his basic stuff well. Caught a couple of shots and that. Delivery's getting much better as well. We need to be keeping hold of him because some people might be circling around him. You know what I mean? But I'll give him a 6.5. Yeah.
Right. So I've just seen their game is massive. He probably won't start because, like I say, Kelleher. But they're actually playing in semi-final of the World Cup qualifiers against Czech Republic away. So yeah, that's massive. That's massive. So hopefully they can, go through. That'd be good. You never know if they can. He might be another player in selection for the World Cup. Like I said, I don't think he'll start, but he could be in the squad. So yeah, Keeley 8 says Paul. Ben says, "Evening, boys. Hope you're well." Yep, we're good, mate. Hope you're well as well. We could see Simon in here as well. He says, "Evening." He will be in the squad tomorrow. Given by what Wilshere said, I think he will be in the squad. He'll be on the bench by the sounds of it. So, with Elijah being injured, which is not great, at least we have got someone coming back. I still stand by what I say with him and Cole. More so El Hamadi, he needs to score. But yeah, I mean, at least we've got one in, one out. If one out is going to be the case, sort of thing. So, yeah, Keeley 7 says Matt. Moving on to Naismith, like I say, both goals you could argue he could do better in both of them, especially the first one for me. So yeah, does have them vulnerabilities as we know. So I'll give him a 6.
Yeah, 6.
Moving on to Keane, again you could argue he could do better for the second goal, but predominantly he's been really, really good for us. And to be honest, I'd have expected him to do that type of thing in like the Northampton game. Consider that as his debut, he hadn't really played football, even the first game back, that he had. But yeah, predominantly he was still good and he deserves that goal, regardless. So for me, I'll give him what do I give him? I'll give him 7.5.
Yeah, 7.5. Hunger for the goal, predominantly worked hard, done what he was doing in the previous game, showing, you know what I mean, that same fitness level as well, which is really good to see. Yeah, the second goal, Naismith should definitely have been goal side. Maybe it just cleared it. He sort of dived in a little bit early. That's all. Do you know what I mean? Like underestimated, but he's only played about 3 or 4 games of whole fucking season. So you know what I mean. So he more than made up for that anyway with the goal. And yeah, I'll give him 7.5.
Yeah, because you think he don't get that goal before half time. It's 2-2 technically, because they'll go out and get that goal. And then, it could have been one of them games where we didn't quite take the chances in the end and we come out of a game with a point. That was a vital goal in a vital period, So, yeah, I totally agree. Matt's gone Naismith 5. Fair enough, mate. Totally understand that. Moving on to Longwick. I thought he was okay. Again, you could argue he could do better on the first goal, like in terms of the clearance. But overall, I felt he was okay. And I don't mind him on that right centre-back role, to be honest. And I would persist to stick with it. We have obviously seen he's much better as a centre-back. And 3 at the back, it is working. Yes, they're having the moments, but overall, it is working better than 4 at the back does, in my opinion, at this moment in time, with no senior right back. So, yeah, for me, I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, I'll give him a 7. I thought he went too bad. He's been mixed. He's playing anywhere and everywhere this season, isn't it? So, if he's part of a back 4 and he's on that position, he's able to come forward a little bit more. But obviously, in this one, he can't. So, he's doing this defensive work. Probably should have smashed it away, but not terrible for him. 7.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like I say, I'm still confident with him there, to be honest. Like, despite them moment, I'm much more confident there than right back. I'll tell you that. But yeah, moving on to the wing backs. Kadoa, I felt he was okay. Maybe not as good as the previous game, but he was still decent for me. Obviously Wilshere spoke today about, playing him there, and it's not obviously his best position, but he likes going there and filling in there. And I don't mind him there. Like I say, I don't mind him there, to be honest. Obviously, I can understand why people say you want to see him higher, to be getting the goals and things like that. But with what we have right now, and Jones not being selected for, apparently, the tactical reasons and squad and all that, you can only have certain players on the bench. I would stick with him there. So yeah, for me, I'll give him a 6.5.
I'll just give him a 6. Again, like compared to how effective he has been in games, especially with other players playing well, you'd expect him to like step up a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? And he hasn't really done that. Obviously, he's an excellent player, but it's just not. He's not really affecting games. Sometimes you need that little extra bit of quality for someone else who's supposed to be, decent on the pitch. And he's not really offering that at the moment. So I'll be probably drop him for the next game. I'll give him a 6.
Fair enough. Longwit 7 says Matt. Kadawa 7 says Paul. 7 as well. Yeah, fair enough. Good to see you in here, mate. Hope you're well yourself. I'm all good, mate. Hope you're well. Moving on we'll go over to Lawrence. I thought he had a good game again. I thought he was good. He was getting himself about again, and in this wing back role as well. And I'll be honest, I was skeptical at first because I know he's much better as an attacker, but he hasn't been bad there at all. I do think he was slightly better in the Wickham game, but still another decent performance from him. I'll give him a 6.5.
I'll give him a 7. I thought he was pretty good, considering that he's played the last 3 games. Got a yellow. I can't even remember what that's for, but one ultimate corners for us. Was involved in the penalty as well. He's definitely going to be a good player. Able to play in the Premier League as well. So and defensively, his positioning was really good. He's just got to learn when to tackle and stuff. But he wasn't terrible. But he's learning. He looks like he's up for the challenge as well. I'd maybe rest him potentially. I'm not sure. Or play him less. This is a big game. I probably would start him, but what's happened to Bramall? I don't know why that question wasn't asked in the press conference, unless it was.
No, it was. Yeah, it was.
Okay. What was the answer?
Basically, same as Jones in terms of, so they're not injured, they just haven't been selected because you can only have 6 players. Tactical is what he said, basically.
Okay.
But the Bramall one, I
am a bit surprising, really, because yes, Lawrence has been doing that, but Kadu is.
But if he gets injured, who have you got on that left?
As well, yeah. So yeah, interesting. But I'll give him a 7.
Because I think, like, obviously, right now, I continue to start Lawrence, but I think, like you say, he's still got a lot to learn, and like Bramall would do really well in that wing back role for me.
Yeah, but also you only learn on the job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally.
So sometimes you have to and he's been effective.
Yeah.
Like Bramall's good at bursting down the wing and that, but Lawrence will cut in. He'll look for that shot. He'll look for that pass. He's not panicking on the ball. I'm not saying Bramall does, but certain
and also with Bramall, we're trying to move him up there. He's actually naturally a left back, and Bramall has done well there.
Real quality players, they don't panic on the ball. That's the difference between elite players and stuff like that. And you can see that he has got that in him. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Who are we going on next?
Well, I was just quickly say he actually got called up for Scotland under 21s as well.
Yeah.
And 5 of our first team players have. Keeley, like I said earlier, obviously Saville as expected. Palmer, obviously for Jamaica. They got a big game, Jamaica. They've got to try and qualify for the World Cups, the same as Ireland.
Your score, mate.
Yeah, hopefully. And then obviously El Hamadi as well. And then obviously a few of our youngsters as well, which is good to see. So, yeah, that's that. Lawrence, 7.5. 7.5 for me, says Matt. Learning and getting better. Yeah, he certainly is. And again, what I was going to say, I've said it before anyway, but I'll say it again. Like, a couple of weeks ago, we were worried about that left-hand side because we were thinking who we're going to play there because we were playing Gids there and it weren't working for him, But Lawrence, he sort of come in, and he's done really well. He's been pretty consistent. Obviously, he's had certain better games than others, but even the games where he's not been as good as the others, he's still been decent.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Moving on to the next player, we'll go over to Saville. Obviously on the flash scores ratings, they did give him man of the match. And do you know what? I said it in my match reaction. I do think that was his best game for us. Obviously, there's been games where he scored and things like that, but I just felt he was really good in the game. He didn't get, one of them frustrating moments, like the first goal, I'm not blaming him. It's long way, like saying initially Naismith shouldn't have got done the way he did. And yeah, I thought he had a good game. Obviously, got the assist for the third goal, which was a vital goal in the game, which is for me the reason we went on to win the game was that goal. And yeah, his crosses were good. He was getting himself about, and people have been skeptical of him and Walsh together, but in this type of role with the wing backs, I think it definitely works. So yeah, I thought he had a really good game. To be fair, I'll give him a 8.5.
Yeah, I thought it was excellent. Eight. Um, this is what he's showing. He's come back in. We've seen it before anyway. Do you know what I mean? I never, you could say went off the boil, but not really because he kind of got benched with trying other things, etc. You know what I mean? But as soon as he's come into the position we know he's good at, and we've obviously been working, put him in the one a couple of times. It worked sometimes, but it didn't. But since we've put sort of him alongside certain players, and Walsh, it has worked. It worked away. I think it was against Stockport as well. Actually, it really worked. And he's got an assist, enjoying his football, bided his time as well. The reason why we signed him, and he could be vital going forward. Still, I think. But yeah, I'll give him 8.
Yeah, and this is where I'm interested to see Sandal like as the weeks go on, because he is that CDM, and like I've said, I wouldn't mind. Obviously, not right now, but like going forward into next season, I wouldn't mind if we kept Savile like as a backup and then had the sort of player coming through. So he can bring on his experience and his know-how. Because he's been a solid player for Millwall. I wouldn't say he's ultimately done maybe what we expected, but he's still been pretty decent. And there was that period where he hasn't played, and you're sort of like, well, why? Especially in the away games. I mean, yeah, and when we did play Stockport last time, it was a 4-1-4-1, and he was the one by himself in that role, and it obviously really worked. And I thought we should persist with that, but we didn't. And yeah, he's done well. He has done well. I'd say the Wickham game he was decent as well. The only thing that let me down was that yellow card. It was a little bit frustrating. I mean, he got one here, but it wasn't as frustrating for me. And he obviously his set pieces are doing really well. So yeah, he was for the man of the match for me. Like I say, Savile 8. Matt says yeah, I thought it was his best game for us 8. And then moving on to Walsh, yeah, I thought he was decent as well. To be fair, his range of passing was good once again, and yeah, obviously the corners, the corner, shall I say, for the goal. But yeah, we look dangerous from set pieces now. 100%. I mean, you only have to go off the last 2 games. So he was good for me as well. I'll give him an 8.
Yeah, 8 as well. Excellent. Very similar. They played, obviously weren't tackling as much as Savile was, and that, but he was, he's in a rich vein of form at the moment as well, and he's another starter, isn't he? So yeah, I'll give him an 8.
Yeah, no, 100%. And again, he was out for a period as well. Maybe not as long as, well, not as long as like Johnson and Hakeem and that. Obviously, different positions, but he's come in and he's done really well. He's had a good couple of weeks, really, I would say, especially since the semi final, finally getting a goal, and obviously, his personal life as well and things like that. So it's great to see. Walsh 8 as well. Moving on we'll go over to Palmer first before we go to Clark. I thought Palmer really good again. Like I say, when he's coming off at that period, you're not complaining. 3 out of 3. Let's see how long he can keep this run going of consecutive goals, because it's looking really, really good. It's good to see goals elsewhere, of course. And yeah, really, really good again. And for me, you've got to continue to have him in that role. And for me, I'll be sticking with his formation tomorrow, because we're at home again and it works. And I believe Stockport do play a back 3 as well. So, match them like we did last time, because I know last time they did. And in periods when we were attacking, we went 3 at the back. Obviously, through the start of the game, played the 4-1-4-1, but bits throughout the game you could see with the wing backs pushing up and that. So I'll be doing the same thing again against them. But yeah, like I say, Palmer, really, really good for me. I'll give him an 8 as well.
I'll give him 7.5. Another good goal, decent performance. Got subbed off at the right time, I believe, and he's a massive player for us. I'll give him 7.5.
Yeah, 100%. 9 says Paul. Matt has gone with 8.5. Moving on to Clark. I mean, like I said, he got man of the match at the stadium. Obviously, David asked Mike after the game. He said Clark as well. And yeah, he was really good. Like I say, last two games, not as good, that we know he can be. But this game, I mean, he was everywhere. He was very unlucky not to have a hat trick, if we're going to be totally honest. Great penalty. Didn't mess around, which he doesn't 9 times out of 10. So yeah, really, really good game from him, and you see the passion again, which was brilliant with the badge and all that when he scored. So yeah, shout out to Clark every time. As for rating, I'll give him an 8 because I did give Savile 8.5.
Is my man of the match. Excellent penalty, so many chances as well. Close with them, unlucky with a couple, just winning the ball. Or, for one of the senior members of the team. When last couple of games, I was like, yeah, needs a rest. Come straight back in and go, shut up, I need a rest. You know what I mean? So excellent. And it would be massive if we could keep him. Because I think his contract's up. But it would be massive if we could keep him for another season. Because I think we could pay him what he wants. So
I hope we do. He fucking deserves it.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's my man of the match. 8.5.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. I can totally understand. It was really hard for me to pick between him and Savile because I thought they were both immense. And yeah, I just thought Savile, in terms of like the best game he's had for us, I feel that was that game, to be honest. And there will be more times I'll give it to Clark, let's be honest. I mean, that's his 4th vote from us, which means he's up there. Savile has 6 as well, by the way. So, a lot of that is based on the start of the season, but still, decent throughout. Clark, 8. Says Paul. Matt's gone with 8 as well. And then moving on to Cole. Like I say, I thought his movement was good. I do think that chance he had, he should have done a little bit better. I know it was on target, but I feel like if he scores that, not just him, like I say, Naismith should have scored. Clark, was unlucky for me. But if we get them more goals, we go on and win that game comfortably, in my opinion, in that second half performance anyway. But yeah, I thought his movement was okay. And that was his best game for us, I would say. So I'll give him a 7.
I'll give him 6.5. Like I say, you see it in him, but they're not. He's still working within the team, getting to know what positions to get into, etc. But when he does get on the ball, he's very strong. Wins free kicks, won the penalty, and things like that. So he's growing into that. So he's a starter for me, especially with the injuries we've got. And yeah, I think it's a matter of time before he does score because he does look good. But I'll give him a 6.5.
Yeah, fair enough. Elijah, I'm just going to give a 6.
Yeah.
Richards, I'll go slightly higher, 6.5, because there was good fight from him, obviously against former club as well.
Yeah. And he won a free kick nicely.
Yeah. And I remember on the watch, I'm going, oh, well done, Richards, because it was good. It was good to see. He was getting himself about. And then Van Den Berg and Sandor, I just have to give them a 6 as well because it was pretty much done, even with the moment where there was the more added on time. So yeah, overall, like I say, I felt we deserved to win the game. I'll say Exeter, they gave us a decent game, especially in that first half. I thought after we scored, they played well, but overall we did deserve to win. And the third goal was the reason we went on to win, in my opinion, from us. So yeah, good to see that we held on as well. Not that they had a hell of a lot of pressure on us in that second half towards the end, but good to see that we got the win still. And we go into the Stockport game now. And like I say, with the other teams winning around us, we needed that win. Thankfully, like I say, Lincoln equalised right at the end against Huddersfield because it would have been 5 points instead of 4. So we just got to focus on ourselves, keep winning. And yeah, I mean, what do we think, guys? Obviously, the international break's coming up, obviously after this game. I mean, how do we feel about that? Like, would we rather that it continues? Because the thing is, we got another home game as well. We come out of the international break, we got another home game. So hopefully tomorrow we can get a win, obviously, and then going to that Peterborough game, which again won't be an easy game, but it's a game you would favour us in being at home. So yeah, let's see what happens with that. But yeah, last load of ratings. Paul says 7.5. You can tell he loves the club. Let's hope we give him a new contract. Yeah, me and my dad have said it for a while, especially myself. He should be the highest paid player at the club. There's no question about that. Loyalty he's shown to the club, what he's actually done for the club. The fact we got him on a free as well, But I can't blame him if he does leave. If we don't go up, which I still obviously don't think we will. But like, yeah, I can't blame him if he does go. I can't, because I think he's been very, very loyal to the club, and he is levels higher. Similar to Palmer, he can play at a higher level, but obviously Palmer has said he'd like to stay in that, so that's more of a benefit. But I wouldn't be surprised if Clark does, but I also think it depends on what he gets in terms of contract. If he gets a new contract, more money, then I think he will stay, to be honest. But we'll see. Cole 7. Uh, I think there is a good thing. There's an international break as long as you guys win. Yeah, I mean, Wilshere was saying earlier, obviously, about the international breaks. Obviously, they asked him. They said it'd be good to have like players back and that, which I get. I totally get. But again, a lot of these players like Bramall, Jones, they haven't been selected due to, you can only have a certain amount of players on the bench. And for me, especially Bramall, you've got to have him on the bench because I honestly thought when he weren't in the lineup, since the Doncaster game, I was thinking, oh, he's probably injured again. We've rushed him back because, me and my dad said we didn't expect him to be back as early as he was. So, but obviously Wilshere's come out and said it's not that. It's selection, like I say, same with Jones. So, I don't know, man. I mean, them players you got to have back. Elijah's obviously got this hip, test that scan that he's got to do. So, yeah, it is a bit frustrating because, obviously you're not going to start him, but just build his minutes up would have been good. But, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised because Nathan Jones did sign him. So I wouldn't be surprised. But like I say, it all depends on what we give him in terms of contract for me. Like, if we give him a better contract, which he thoroughly deserves, I actually think he will stay. But if we're going to give him similar, but just try and extend it, then I can't see it, to be honest. So, yeah, that's how I see it. That's how we see the Exeter game. Moving on to the game tomorrow against Stockport County, 12:30 kickoff. And I'll be honest, guys, let me know in the chat. Do you guys like 12:30 kickoffs? Actually, I'm going to change the background to that because it is the Wembley preview we all needed, as it says in the title. Now, the reason I've said that, obviously, yes, you probably expect the Wembley game to be slightly different because, it's a final, it's at Wembley, different, ground, etc. Everyone wants to play at Wembley and all that. But at the same time, I think, it's a big game for both teams tomorrow, like it is then. So, obviously, for us, we have to win the game, really, because Stockport are ahead of us as it is, and there'll be more of a gap if they win. So, they'll get a win due to that reason, and obviously, all the other teams that are currently in the playoffs and all that, obviously, taking out Bolton and Bradford because the points difference is, but in terms of, the teams below and all that, Huddersfield and us and all that, it's a big game for them as well. So, and also I do think like psychologically, if one of us can win this game, I think it does have an effect on Wembley. I do believe that because that game's only a few, weeks away when you think about it really. For us, it's obviously, 3 games time after this. 3 games time after this. So, it's one of them where I do think it will have a factor psychologically as well. Like I say, it's a big game. It's not like it's a nothing game. We put ourselves in a position where if we win this game, I think there will be a lot more belief from fans that we can actually get back in the playoffs. And I'm going to say it now. If we do, win the game, then I believe that myself, to be quite honest with you. It is for me, I am a little bit gutted the international break's coming at the time it does if we do win the game tomorrow, because it is another home game and I think it's another opportunity to win. So, I don't know. That's the only thing for me. But at the same time, I am expecting a different game to when we played Stockport last. Obviously, they didn't have Norwood in that game. I can't remember if they had their striker in that game either. But Norwood is obviously a good player for them. He's definitely a player we've got to watch out for. But at the same time, we're at home. They have dropped off a little bit in terms of their away form. So, and we have been good at home under Wilshere, bar, Mansfield and Reading. So, and even the Reading performance was good. It was just the errors, the individual errors. So, it is a game we look at with confidence. Even, you look at our 12:30 games, Stevenage beat them 2-1. I think Bradford might have been a 12:30 kickoff as well, beat them as well. So there is that confidence, and it isn't one of them games where you look at it and you think, oh, we're playing at midday. Do you know what I mean? It could be a shambles, like that period where we started being on TV, Dad. Do you remember? And we just never won on TV.
Yeah,
So there is confidence there to take going into this game for me. So, yeah, I mean, it is a Wembley preview, like I say, technically, because like I say, the game's not too long away. Roughly going to have the same players available as well. On top of that, in my opinion, obviously there'll be a few injuries probably for some teams, but yeah, that is how I see it, to be honest. So let me know if you guys do as well. But yeah, in terms of lineups for this game, I'll get into my lineup first, as I always do. So yeah, like I said, I would stick with the same formation. I think we have to do that, especially if it working. And I really liked it, to be honest. Like, obviously, again, like I say, I'd love two up front, but with Elijah now being out again, El Hamidi is obviously going to be on the bench by the sounds of it. But even then, the two strikers only available, playing them up front, it's just not going to happen. So Keeley in goal for me, obviously. I would drop Naismith for this game. I would put Johnson as a left centre back. Now, I know you need consistency in terms of a back line to be successful, but at the same time, Naismith, he has shown vulnerabilities, as we know. So I would put Johnson in for this game. Hakeem in the middle, obviously. Longwick on the right. Lawrence and Kadoa as the wing backs again for this game. Now, obviously, Wilshere has said it's just been selections on why Bramall and Jones haven't been picked. So maybe we could see maybe start, who knows? But yeah, for me, I would continue with what has worked, especially on the left anyway, in Lawrence. Maybe you could put someone else in ahead of Kadoa, but I would stick with him personally. Savile and Walsh, again, stick with them. And then Palmer and Clark and then Cole up front. Now, that is literally the same team as the other day, bar Johnson in. So, one change for me going into the game the other day. We did also make one change, which was obviously the Wells being injured for Cole. So, and I think you've got to predominantly stick with a winning team. I mean, this is saying, isn't it? It goes every time. But yeah, the only change I'd make is Naismith abilities for me. So, that's the only reason I would do that. But yeah, do let me know if you guys would go with the same. In terms of your lineup for this game, Dad, it is slightly different to mine, but same in terms of formation. So talk us through it.
yeah, same formation. I'm making was it 3 changes? I think you're right, correct with the Naismith. Like Stockport and no mugs as well, and they've got players that can hurt us. You know, he does try Naismith, but you can see like he's not the player he was. Do you know what I mean? Full respect to him and that, but and when this is a must-win game for me as well. So, and Johnson's hasn't done anything wrong for me. Bit more pace, but good at going forward, if not better than Naismith. Hakeem has to start. Jones, we played him at home a few times, if we're decent and we're on the front foot.
And we did play him away in this game
Yeah,
as a wing back. And he
yeah,
scored, didn't he? So
yeah. So I'm thinking, just put Longwick on the bench. You know what I mean? Like I like big Nige, I do. But we got to offer some pace because I think, like I said before, at Wembley, I think they've got a good team. They're technically pretty good, but I think our wingers are far superior to theirs, and this is kind of a test for that as well for me. So I'll be putting them kind of wing players as much as I can. Morris could do it. He's out of form. Like he's got to come on and do bits, which is how he got into the team in the first place. And I feel that Morris has done all right. Do you know what I mean? So, and I'd change it up a little bit and I'd put him there. Walter and Savile, 100% keep. Clark and Palmer, 100% keep. Cole, injuries, like I say, and he's been improving. And then Lawrence, I was tempted to start Bramall, or tempted to even start, but could you maybe on that side? But he's justified his place in the team. and this is against a good team as well. We want to see how he does, and like I say, potential for Wembley. Some of these players will be the thought will be in Jack Wilshere's mind, the management team's mind, because you're playing the team that you're going to be playing. So it obviously makes sense. If Saville's really good against one of their players that they're likely to play in there, it's not guaranteed, but you're going to be looking at that. If Cole comes on and makes one of their defenders can't hack him, they're going to be looking at that. So, and we got a good bench. I think Elijah will be fine. Al Hamadi, good to see him on the bench. Hopefully, he can come on and affect a game. But yeah, that's what I'd be going with.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I wouldn't mind Jones in like a wing back role tomorrow because, like I say, obviously we did play a full 1-4-1 when the formation come out against them. But when we was attacking, we went three at the back in the away fixture. We matched them. And that's another reason we beat them because we actually matched the team and we didn't just try our own thing and it didn't work. Um, and like I say, he scored in that game. So I wouldn't mind it. And I understand why you've obviously put Kadoa out because of his form, and like I say, I can see that. Obviously, I'd stick with Lawrence like you have as well. And yeah, Morris should be getting more of an opportunity, to be honest. Like, even if he's coming on, for me, like, he's a player that he said loads of times, his pace, you've got to be trying to bring that on, especially when the games are tight, and he can win corners and, if how we've been from corners recently, you're certainly flipping take him. So, yeah, it is one of them, to be honest, where I do think he deserves to play more. And yeah, you've got to start Cole again, like I have. Like, obviously, we'll have El Hamidi on the bench, but yeah, just take Cole off at one point, because what I do notice, especially for Cole's age, like he's actually quite fast.
No,
Like he's
I've heard people comment that he's slow in that, but I don't know.
no,
So like even like I've got a couple of seasons ahead on FIFA, and he's
yeah,
92 fucking pace.
yeah, he's fast. He's fast for especially for his age as well. So yeah, I would stick him on
Yeah,
and then bring El Hamidi on at the game. I will be honest, like I still think it needs to actually like score, and Cole has performed better, but there's no one else, is there? So you're going to have to do that change at some point. So, yeah, they are the lineups that we would go with for this game, guys. So, yeah, do let us know. Ben says, not fussed on the 12:30 ones, 3 o'clock all day for me. To be honest, I don't like I say, I don't mind the 12:30 ones, especially if you win, because then you're looking at, especially like us, we could be like, other teams could feel a bit of pressure going into 10 games because they'll know the result if we can win. And things like that, and then you can just chill for the rest of the weekend. So yeah, I don't mind them, to be fair. I will be honest. Yeah, Ben says it will be psychological and massive. Yeah, 100%. No, that's all right, mate. I know what you meant. I know what you meant. Jackie says I'll go with the same as you, Ty. Yeah, fair enough. Uh, yeah, and that's why I'm saying bring El Hamidi on. Bring him on for Cole. I totally get what you're saying because he runs so much, and he does. He gets himself about. He does.
yeah,
He just needs that goal. He just needs that goal or assist. And again, that's why I say I would have given him the penalty the other day just for a bit of confidence. I mean, you see it with. I'm not going to say Yates, but you see it with Wells when he started scoring a few penalties. There was more confidence there, and belief. So yeah. Stockport were pants when they played us. Yeah, you beat them 3-0, didn't you? You absolutely battered them. Shade Sorda, if you could go at them, they could crumble like it done. Yeah, we've just got to have the same intensity as we have in the last two games. If we have the same intensity, I think we'll do them. I do. Like 12:30. We'll be right up for this game. And the fans will. Because of the last two games. Yes, there's been moments we could defend better, but in terms of what we have seen, it's better. No one can say it's not. So, yeah, fair enough on that. But yeah, and I'll tell you what as well, our record against Stockport is very, very good as well. They haven't actually beat us since 1968, and we have played 12 times since. It's not like we've rarely played. Obviously, yeah, not ages in terms of years and all that like regularly, but still, that is a very good record. So, Dad, are we thinking we can win? At this
Well, after
12:30
that,
kickoff, 3 out of 3. Can we get 9 points? I don't know
yeah,
last time we done that in a free
I don't
game.
know. I feel we got a number, and that's probably part of the reason why I didn't really look into that stat when we played them away. But but then it would have been the same. We've only lost to them twice. I weren't even alive then. Um, and yeah, we got a good record against them, and we seem to have their number. And you do with some teams. They have got some good players, so we have to be on it. But we have been on it pretty much. Even against Reading, we were on it. We were so angry because it was two stupid mistakes which cost the game. But other than that, we was on it. We've been on it.
Yeah, 3.
Even the away games we could have done better, but we still got a point out of it. We've picked up on in that aspect, and I expect that to continue. In the back of their minds, they will have. We've got 2 games in hand. It's not the worst thing if we draw here. And their last couple of games away, few games away, they've not really performed. Got beat by, I think it was Burton beat them as well.
Yeah, like Harry says in chat, it's 3-0 as well. They dismantled them.
Yeah, so if we are on it and the atmosphere is good, which I think it will be, there'll be a lot of banter between the fans because of the final.
Hatters Derby, all of that.
See you at Wembley and all that. Yeah, it's gonna be good. But I think we've got a big squad at the moment to choose from. The fact that he's saying tactically we're leaving Jones and Bramall out, and it still worked. Let's be fair, it has worked. But we know how good them players are, and they will come in at some point and contribute towards this little running. But ultimately, we need. This is where we need. This is a must-win game for me.
Just quickly, Dad, what I will say, them 2 players, it'd be brilliant to have them both back in because thinking about it, like I say, Jones scored last time out against them and Bramall scored one of them memorable free kicks.
Yeah. So this is where we've been so inconsistent all season. If you're going to make it count, and we seem to be at that, but it might be too little, too late. You ain't got enough games to do it, so you need to just do it. I think we can't. If we lose this game, I'd say it is pretty much done. But if we win this game and other results go away, we know we've got the break. We know we've got a lot of favourable games. Rotherham away, Northampton at home, Wimbledon away. There's so many winnable games there, which we should be winning anyway. So we could. It's that 6th place. The other places are pretty much secured, I'd say. The Luton, Mike said, we don't deserve to be there. But again, the Plymouth, well, maybe they do. They were terrible at the start. They've just pushed their way up, so maybe they do. Huddersfield, do they? They should be. The fact that we're all still up there, the teams that got relegated and the teams that are meant to be going up, and none of them have performed consistently this season, are still up there. It does show you how poor the league is really. And yeah, there's potentially some big teams coming down next season, but we should still be fine, especially if we keep the core of our squad. Yeah, I think we'll be fine. The teams that are coming up, swings and round, MK Dons, they might stay for a season. They're a bit of a yo-yo. So yeah, but must-win game for me. I think they will score. I don't think it'll be easy. I think it'll be similar in certain ways to maybe, I've said this before, like the Bournemouth game where Naismith did pattern up there. But yeah, I think it'll be close. But I think because of the record and because of, in the back of their minds, they'll be like, we've got 2 games in hand. Their priority is getting promoted. It's not the Virtue Trophy. So ultimately they'll be a bit cagey and they'll be looking to, do you know what I mean? And seeing if they can handle us, because that's what they'll be ultimately. And if they can't, and we do beat them quite comfortably, then I can't see any other result in the final. I'm quite confident anyway. But anyway, I'm waffling. My score prediction is another 3-2.
Goals galore,
Yeah.
like it was the other day. As for me, my score prediction, I think we'll win the game as well, to be fair. I'm not going to quite say that many goals, but I think we'll win 2-1. I think it'll be exactly like our other early kickoffs this season. Stevenage beat them 2-1. Bradford, lots. I think that was a 12:30 game. We beat them 2-1 as well. I do think they'll score. Probably Norwood, someone who didn't feature against us last time round. But yeah, hopefully for our sake, we can get goals, in this game and just outscore them. And hopefully the strikers can score. But I'll be honest, I haven't got a lot of confidence they will, to be honest with you right now. I think it's going to be goals from Palmer and Clark. That's going to continue. So yeah, 2-1 for me, 3-2 you're saying. What do you guys think in the chat? Do let us know. So yeah, that's the score predictions from us. We'll get into our goal scorers. Ben says 3-1 to us. Nice. That'd be a very good win. When is the last time we actually won 3-1? I just don't know.
Oh, no, I was going to say that, but
We've won 3-0. Obviously, Stockport and Leighton Orient. Can't think of a 3-1, to be fair. I'm going for another 2-1. Lawrence and Jordan. Yeah, I'll get into the points, Jackie, in a second, and everyone else. Luton 3-1. Cole, Clark, and Palmer. Yeah, it'd be nice if Cole can score. Yeah, I mean, it's like hot potato for that 6th place, isn't it, really? Like, who wants it? We're stunned ourselves, well, especially me, because I said after the Huddersfield game it was done. But the problem with, like, Huddersfield, well, not just them, obviously us as well, we're all inconsistent. And you look at the points gap between, Bolton and Bradford to lower. I mean, there is a gap there, and they're nailed on to obviously get it. And even then, I think, like, I don't know how. I'll be honest, because Bolton, like, we should have beat them when we played them for me. Like, we'll probably lose away, but it depends what circumstances are. But right now, I'll probably say we do. But then, like, you look at Bradford, they've been awful away. I mean, we haven't been great, but they haven't been great either. I don't know how they're in a position where they're proper comfortable, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, Cardiff and Lincoln have, been different. Obviously, Cardiff ain't quite been the same recent weeks, but throughout the season, obviously. But like, yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, that is another reason I will be so frustrated, because I know we have got good players in good areas, especially with the back three. In terms of a back four, flat out back four, I feel the right hand side's obviously, right back is exploited. But in terms of this formation and the way we're playing at the home games, we should be right up there, really. 2-1, Harry said for this one. Cole and Clark score for the Hatters and Wooten score for them. Yeah, he's up there in terms of goals, isn't he? Like I said, I can't remember if he played against us last time. I know Norwood definitely didn't. So yeah, Jamie has gone 4. I'll be able to tell you because she told me earlier. Jamie said for the game, a 2-2 draw. So she's gone with goals galore. So hopefully that's not the case. But yeah, she's gone with goals. So yeah. I mean, Bradford, like I say, they're in their own flipping league, mate. So I wouldn't even. I'm not even looking at them. I'm looking at Stockport onwards, below. Sorry, to be honest. So yeah, we shall see. But yeah, your goal scorers, Dad.
I'm gonna go Clark, Cole for his first, and
Palmer.
No, I'm gonna go Adolfin to get another one.
Oh, okay. As for me, I'll go Clark and Palmer. It's probably inevitable, isn't it? If it's not Palmer, I do think it will be Hakeem as well. Got a feeling. But yeah, Clark's inevitable to score. And I think he has scored in all these 12:30 games. I think he scored in the Stevenage game, didn't he? And he scored against Bradford, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, that's a nailed-on one for me, especially if we get a penalty, which hopefully we do. So, yeah. I mean, Jamie, any reasoning for the 2-2? Jamie, any reasoning for the 2-2? No, she's just going with it. Fair enough. But yeah, that's that in terms of that. Any final things, Dad, you want to say before we go?
No, I'm looking forward to it. It will give you an insight. The fact that we've beaten them already, we've got an excellent record against them. This, if we're going to push on, it's got to be now.
It's got to be now, yeah.
Time is now. Um, so let's do that, because we've got nothing to lose. It's the close end of the season. We're guaranteed a final. Just you know what I mean. Just push. People will be happy with that. We just finished just outside of it, which I think I might have predicted at the beginning of the season, possibly. I'm not sure. Um, or they'll say we're going to smash the league and fucking. I'll be pleased with that. So yeah, hopefully we can get that win, and then, like I say, it puts a little bit of pressure on other teams around us. And yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the point before I go, or we go, shall I say. So everyone got a point except Darth Vader. And Darth Vader, right, he done a bit of reverse psychology, as they call it. So he said, I'm going to go 3-2 to Exeter. And when he said that, I was thinking, what? You think they get 3 goals? But then obviously it's the other way around. So what he's actually done this week, I don't think he cares about the points anymore. He's gone 2-1 to Stockport. So he's actually thinking 2-1 to us. So if he gets that in again, I mean, next week he might as well, just because it'll probably actually happen. Or not next week because the international break, but when we play again, which is the 4th, I believe, it's on a Friday. I know that because we play on the Friday and then the Monday because of Easter and all that jazz. So yeah, he's on that. Jackie is still top, so everyone gained the point, like I say, bar Darth Vader. So I'm on 23. You're on 18, Dad. Jackie, you're on 24. Rich is on 14. Paul's on 19. Stephen's on 17. Phil's on 9. Darth Vader's on 18. Ben's on 19, Terry's on 9, Dave's on 12, Blitz is on 17, Chat GPT's on 18, Jamie's on 22, Harry, you're on 9, Lewis is on 10, and Ryan's on 8. So they are still a point in it as it stands. So very, very tight at the top of the table, as they say. So we'll see how that is come the end of the season. So yeah, I'm staying up. Oh my God. But yeah, big up to everyone that has tuned in. And yeah, don't forget to smash a like if you haven't already. Do subscribe to the channel as well. And in terms of the game tomorrow, I'll be honest, I'm probably going to do it here. I was going to do it over at the pub, but first of all, I don't know how busy it's going to be because midday there'll be more people in than the other day. And also the fact my throat is being a bit dodgy again. Not as dodgy as it was last time. So I'll probably just do a watch along here, to be honest. And then we have the match reaction from myself. I think David is going again. I haven't spoken to him recently today, but I'm pretty sure he said to me the other day he is going. So hopefully he'll have a match reaction as well with Mike. So do check that out. And then obviously we'll be back again on Monday to talk about this game. And yeah, then we won't be back in terms of the Hat Show until the next game we play, which is, like I say, against Peterborough. So we'll do that on the Thursday because obviously we play on the Friday. So yeah, like I say, we'll do that on the Thursday. And then, yeah, we'll probably have a watch along for that as well. And then, yeah, we got Wimbledon as well away, which we'll have a watch along for that as well. The Hut Show before that and all that. And then, obviously, Wembley, which we'll both be at. So, yeah, hopefully we can have another load of success at Wembley. Hopefully we can beat Stockport tomorrow in a must-win game. And then go from there, really, guys. So, yeah, big up to everyone, like I say. Smash a like, subscribe, all of that. Follow me across all my socials. And, yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. My dad will see you guys again on Monday. Hopefully, we talk about another win. Like I say, I can't remember the last time we got 9 points in a 3-game week. I'm going to be totally honest. So, hopefully, we can do that. But we shall see. So, yeah, big up to Ben, as always. And big up to everyone else in the chat. Until next time, take care and peace. Come on, Luton. Must win game.